Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy Serviliers, and we are back in Divine Eye Racing Division 1 for the final round of the season. Now, I believe the title has already been wrapped up, but we're going racing here tonight at Abu Dhabi for the final race. A track that is usually a driver favorite, can usually bring about some interesting, hard racing with multiple sectors that provides plenty of overtaking opportunities really. So looking forward to this one tonight. Unfortunately, we only have 9 drivers it seems, meaning with the drivers championship pretty much wrapped up, I believe. The steps taking the drivers championship this season for the um, final kind of, what should I say, the final season of F1 2024. It's been a memorable season, that is for sure, with different winners here in Divine Eye Racing. But tonight we've got short qualifying, so drivers will have multiple attempts of setting their best qualifying lap in order to secure pole position. And looking forward to this one for sure. Usually we see Cutthroat out on track. I mean, I've been away, so things could have changed drastically. But yeah, in terms of the Drivers' Championship, we've got the Steps on 160 points, leading the way by 48 points to Paddy in P2. Steps seems to have had a pretty consistent season, it seems, or it looks like that might be wrong. Those standings might be wrong, I believe. Yes, they are wrong, unfortunately. But the Steps, anyways, from the standings that I have, seems to have picked up 4 wins and a couple of other podiums along the way. But unless anything drastic has changed, I think Paddy is in P2, followed by Big Turns and Yuri in P3 and P4 respectively. Now, in terms of the constructor standings, after Monza, which was not the previous race, Brazil was the previous race, it looks like McLaren are running away with it, with more than half the points of, or not quite, more than double the points, not just almost, more than double the points of the nearest challengers in Scuderia Ferrari. But we have Kev the Slice, I think, who is our first driver on track. No, it is Srivatsa, who is a D3 driver and mod. I think he's just stepping in tonight out of the goodness of his heart to help fill the numbers, which we love to see in Divine Eye Racing. He is a quick driver, that has to be said, so perhaps he has been competing at a high level whilst I've been away. But in terms of the level of drivers that we have in tonight, it seems to be a quite competitive grid. Of course, we know Kaka, Paddy, Yuri, the Steps, although Richie can also be fast on his day. So it should be, I'd say, a good 4 or 5 car shootout for pole position. But as we're going to go on board for the first flying lap of the session, on board with Srivatsa. Barreling down the turn, wants to take it as wide as possible, doesn't take as much of the curve as it possibly can, but leaves a bit of room on the exit as well. Does not to invalidate his first flying lap, his banker lap. Of course, he's got this long straight coming out here. Get a good exit. It's a long one, you want to burn quite a bit of ERS. There's lots of different strategies that can be done in terms of ERS deployments around this track, which all in all kind of brings about similar lap times, but you can do something a little bit different, which is always nice to see. Now we come down to the second back straight, and usually we see drivers burn all of their ERS down into this corner. Srivatsa leaves a little bit in reserve here, takes a narrow line to the banked left-hander. Of course, he goes purple in sector 2 as the first driver on track. Now coming down from the twisty, turny hotel section of this Marina Bay circuit, and it seems to be a pretty tidy lap so far from Srivatsa. into the final corner now. A little bit hesitant on the throttle on the exit there, but the 122.8 is definitely a competitive lap time, I would say. Yuri has invalidated his first lap. We're on board with the steps. Our championship winner. And the steps has abandoned his... I know it's Kaka who usually does medium run, and he's still following suit with that. It's at a 23.7, so about 9/10 off the pace on that medium tire. And Steps has run out of deployment. It's coming to the line. It's 23.5, so a little bit off the pace for himself as well. Go on board with Cutthroat now, as I think that was a purple sector 2. Very good braking there from Cutthroat, has to be said. Braking very, very late. Seems to be running some pretty low downforce levels compared to what you might want to usually run around here. As we come around the final corner of the Red Bull, a little bit squirrely on the exit there. Good enough for P4. On board with Paddy now in the Ferrari, P2 in the championship standings. Coming into the chicane. Also a little bit squirrely on the exit. Opted not to go for the tight line, going wider there on the exit, which, I mean, a few meters it will save you by going tighter. And during qualifying, you want to minimize any distance as possible. Ride the curve, a little bit slippery there. Good final corner from Paddy there. Let's see what time it's going to be. It's good enough for P2. He had quite a bit of ERS in reserve there as well, so perhaps could have gone a little bit faster, but at the moment, Srivatsa setting the benchmark with a 22.8. Kept the slice, now on board with him. His first lap was perhaps a little bit of a tire warming lap. Late braking, hits the apex nicely. Second apex, done very nicely as well. Riding a little bit of the curb on the exit. Now wide for this banked, lovely corner. Takes that pretty nicely, I have to say. Maximizing the exit as well. Now we saw with the F1 Esports, that famous corner where Thomas Ronhar lost his mind once again, quoted by the great Freddie Rasmussen, and tried to take out Jarno Opmeer. Oh, kept the slice with a little bit of a moment on the exit there. Good enough for a 24.2, and Kaka now goes to the top of the timesheets on his medium tires, so very, very good lap from him, 22.6. Richie now, as he's looking to set his first time of the session, should be a clean lap. Doesn't have too much traffic ahead of him. Really close to invalidating there. Quite hit the apex there. Nonetheless, it's all about the exit. Could be a strategy. Aims to... He's not in hot lap, he's in medium mode at the moment, so... Braking on the curb, which is always a little bit RNG. Nonetheless, gets a very good exit. Minimizing distance, that's exactly the line that you want to be taking around this sequence of corners. Ooh, a bit too narrow on the entry and invalidates, unfortunately. I'm going to go on board with Yuri now, who's always quick in qualifying. And imagine this could be one of his favorite tracks. Very, Nice line there in the first couple of corners. Braking on the curb, that's an interesting one there. I love these lines that Yuri's taking at the moment. Very much taking the esports lines here. Opting not to brake on the curb. A little bit of a lock up on the inside left. Bumps over the curb there, so whilst this is a quick lap for Yuri, hoping he can complete it, because this is set to be a very good lap indeed. A little bit wide on the entry there, mid-section of that corner, but nonetheless I'd imagine this is going to be a good enough lap for P2, at the very least P3. Riding these curves very, very nicely. You just got to keep your foot in through this sequence right here. Let's see what kind of time this is going to be. It's going to be good enough for pole position. It's at 22.3. 3/10 between himself and Kaka in P2 at the moment. On board with Alev Riyadis, who I think has made some pretty decent improvements this season as a driver. Typically around the midfield, and I believe he might have secured himself a win at some point. Carrying some decent speed in this section here. A little bit wide, is he able to keep on track? Yes, he is. No invalidation for him. Might have compromised his exit there. Let's see what kind of time it's going to be. Surely it's an improvement. And it's 24.6. It is. It's 23.7. So nearly a second quicker than his previous lap. It's always good to see. Steps. I'm not sure. It looks like he's just finishing up the lap. On board with Srivatsa now. This was the first track I saw Srivatsa race at, and I believe he secured himself a podium in T2. Good to see D2 drivers now moving up into D3. Oh, sorry, D1, what am I talking about? Early on the exit. It is a slight improvement, nearly by a tenth. By a 10th. As we're rounding down to 6 minutes left in the session, this is really where you want to be setting your second lap times of the session. Although she's still yet to set a time. He is on for his first lap now. Or his second lap, sorry, his first lap was validated. 33, nice seatbelt there. Hot lap. That's a very, very nice line, executed perfectly that time around compared to his first lap. Just keeping it in the limits of the track there. Let's see what kind of time this could be for Oliver Ritchie. Coming up to the line. Good enough for P4 at 22.7. So definitely at least a 4 or 5 car battle for pole position we've got on our hands here with the driver that I imagine just getting ready for the final laps of the session. Maybe a little bit of a race against the clock for Oliver Ritchie here to get in, put on a set of new tyres and get back out once again. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to be securing pole position for our final race of the season here in Divine Eye Racing. It's been 10 rounds, 10 fantastic rounds, I'm sure. I mean, I've been seeing a little bit of controversy here and there in the chats as I've been paying attention. But let's hope that all the drivers will be returning for F1 25 and some more league racing to go with it. Oh, Oliver She's now run out of fuel. Should be able to get back out. And our first driver out on track is Rios, I think, no? Kaka, Mercedes, so his only soft run of the session will be coming right at the end. And let's see if he can steal away pole position from Yuri. He seems to have the pace. I mean, 3 laps on those medium tires and setting a 22.6 is definitely a big feat in itself. But of course, the track should be at its absolute grippiest now. And I hope for Kaka's sake that he doesn't run into any serious traffic, as drivers should be coming out for the final runs of the session now. Kaka is deciding to run off his tires one more time. So it was an out lap. And now he's doing a second out lap is Kaka. With some aggressive steering inputs to try and warm up his tires. So Red Bull following very closely behind. That is going to be cut though, isn't it? Yes it is. They're trying to get a little bit of toe. But is a little bit too far behind to get a toe. Needs to be a little bit closer at the start of the lap. Very late braking from Yuri there. Might have compromised his exit, but keeps it within track limits just about. Very squirrely on the exit there. He is up on his time, so no improvement for Yuri at the moment. Let's see if he's able to gain some of that time that he's lost back in this final sector. Very wide. And he's invalidated, unfortunately, so that's going to be it for his session. Cutthroat coming to the line. Good enough for P5, so a little bit of improvement, 7/10 actually. So massive improvement for him. Fourth with Paddy for his final lap of the session. The steps also across the line. Only good enough for P5 provisionally. Paddy can do. Can he improve? He does improve, so he goes to P5. That is Rios, who did improve by about 5 tenths. Kept the slice going to the line now. P7 for kept the slice. Alevriadis now. Does improve, but not good enough to bring him up in position. Coming to Ulrichi, who has invalidated, unfortunately. Did not make an improvement. Kaka also invalidated his lap. So Yuri, by the skin of his teeth, is able to secure pole position. It seems like a lot of drivers there invalidated. So Yuri did not need to make an improvement. But there you have it. That is our grids for the final race of the season. Kaka was able to set his fastest time on the medium tires. But Yuri takes pole position for our final race, followed by Kaka. Srivatsa also solid pole position, or sorry, solid qualifying time from him. Ulrichi, despite only setting one time, is able to get himself P4. So yeah, the top 6 are all fairly closely matched, I want to say. Kev the Slice also not too far off the steps, so we should see a quite close grid for the race. I mean, of course, we've got 2 DRS zones around here, so it should prove some very good racing indeed. Lots of things you can do with strategy. Medium hard is usually, medium hard or hard medium is usually what you want to do, and of course, there shouldn't be any rain to come in Abu Dhabi here, so it should be fairly straightforward. As we're going racing 5 red lights, and away we go for the final race of the season here in Divine Racing. Kaka just not quite alongside, keeps the leads. Yuri into turns 1 and 2. No positions lost, or no, just 1 position gained from Cutler. Let's go on board for the tyre choices. One driver on the soft, that is Cutler. He's having a bit of a battle with the steps. Kept the slice behind. Look at the top speed he seems to have. We've got Alevriadis looking to pass both drivers here. Going into this chicane. Leaves a bit of room on the exits. No, he's pushed out wide, unfortunately, by Cutler, and unfortunately Alevriadis loses a bunch of positions as a result of that. Alevriadis definitely seems to have a solid top speed setup on. Back at the front with Kaka and Yuri. Yuri is recharging his battery for this section, which is definitely what he's doing. To the front, seems to have a little bit of a gap. Paddy seems to be closing in on Ulrichi in front of him. Okay, the slice seems to be dropping off just a little bit to Cutler in front of him, perhaps because of that soft tire delta to the mediums. We've got Kaka, who's very, very close to Yuri at the moment. He goes a bit wide on the entry to the corner, but we'll have the exit. Yuri is burning a little bit of the ERS, trying to stay ahead. Will Kaka go for a move down into the chicane? Stay behind for now, lifting off it seems. No one seems to want to go for an overtake there. Now, of course, the second part is where you want to go. That should be a track limits warning for Yuri as well. Kaka should make that move fairly comfortably as the new race leader for this race. Bollard was just taken out there. Into this hotel section. Kaka is not recharging his EOS. Down to the steps, seems to be fairly close. Cutler blocked him off there. Setting the new fastest lap of the race. Cutler needs to do a little bit of job here to try and stay within the DRS of the cars ahead. That is ever important here, and has a little bit of a moment on the exit. And is now outside of that 1 second window that he needs. Steps tries to get that move done. Yep, he would have had to get that position back. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he would have had to get that position back because it would have overtaken off the track, and now the steps has lost 3 or 4 positions as a result of that. Back to the lead for the race from the WC. A lead change here. We are not. Cutler getting overtaken by a couple of cars there. Going for the switchback attempt on Alavriadis. Alavriadis is already out of the ERS. He takes the lead once again. Trying to pick a line here for Cutler. We're going to see it centered down the inside. No, we are not. Alavriadis and Kevin Slice fighting it out around the outside. Ooh. Bit of contact from behind from the steps. Just had too much speed going into that corner. Still side by side between Alavriadis and Kevin Slice. A little bit of contact there, and Cutler tries to have a look down the inside, but they're losing so much time between the cars ahead. The gap's already at 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds between Paddy and Kevin Slice. These cars would need to kind of work together, swapping DRS if possible. Oh my goodness. Cutler really racing hard with the steps there, pushing him up against the wall. Yuri already has a 3-second time penalty for 3 track limits warnings going into lap 4 of this 29 lap race. See Kaka making the move into the lead of the race. Down there, Kevin Slice runs slightly to the back of Alavriadis. For that lead, still within touching distance. Bit too late on the brakes there for Yuri. Also a bit of time as a result of that. Still, within that 1 second, that's all you have to manage. Or if you have another moment, he's trying to do his best to stay as close to Kaka as possible. Down into turn 1 on Cutler. He's had enough of staying behind. Just about enough room, would have been just pushed out a little bit wide, but I think all is well. The intention was good. Steps needs to really good if he can. Oh, he's going to be missing out on DRS, unfortunately. So wide on the entry. See another swap for the lead. Shabazza is now just about got himself back within the DRS of the car's head. That's all he has to do at this moment. He's already out of DRS. That could be a big factor. Ola Ritchie is also low on the DRS. Shibasa has a really big job to do from here. This section needs to be really quick and also recharges DRS. That was a very, very good late braking there. They could cut the gap down just a little bit. Alavriada seems to be in the wall, unfortunately. I'm not sure where the contact came from. If that was his own doing or not. But Cutler is already in the pits. After lap 6, those soft tires are done. We're going to go into some hard tires and presumably run to the end. It's medium tire he sticks on. Medium tires for Cutler. That is a long, long way to go. Also, Alabriades, of course, into the pits. Change his front wing and see what he can do from there. Rishi really has to try and overtake Shrivastava now if he can. You can see Shrivastava flashing in front of him. That's not where he wants to be stuck. See how much he's gaining down the straight. And Paddy, I can imagine as well, is he wanted to overtake these cars as well. And now Steps has managed to get past Kev Slice, and he's got a 5.4 second gap to the cars ahead. Never say never. There's plenty of opportunity for safety cars to be coming out. But he's got a big gap to try and make up to the cars ahead. How much speed he has compared to Ulrich. I'm not sure if Ulrich was recharging there. Didn't have the flashing light. A bit of a wide entry from Ulrich, but Cutler now has picked up his time penalty, so our second time penalty to be handed out. It is a tricky track for trackman's violations, that is for sure. We're seeing Ulrich go into P3 at the moment, 1.4 second gap, a little bit deep on the entry to that corner. He's going to fly on his hand to try and keep the position. Shrivastava is coming at him, but has to recharge his battery. So he's sent from Paddy, but we are not. Perhaps on the exit. Nice little switchback. Coming up alongside. No, backs out of it, it seems. Final podium position. Got a big fight on our hands for this at the moment. Paddy had to get out of the throttle there, as you can see Shrivastava trying desperately to try and recoup his battery. All the while the Steps is putting in some solid lap times. The gap is down to 4.6 at the moment. Paddy really needs to get past Shrivastava here. He wants to try and make some inroads. He can work together with Ulrich if possible. Done here. Ulrich a little bit hesitant there, and he's going to get on the battery for Shrivastava. It should be a fairly straightforward pass, and it should be a fairly straightforward pass for Paddy as well. So Ulrich losing out on 2 positions, down 1 straight. Oh, you can hear the traction control for Ulrich there, or the medium traction control at least, or full traction control I think it is. Top 2 just constantly swapping positions down the DRS straights, trying to build a gap with the cars behind. I know Yuri, of course, with that 3-second time penalty, is going to want to try and build that gap and not lose any time to the cars behind. So we're doing a very good job of that at the moment. Yellow flags, I think that's Alabriades, who's had another spin. Same corner, so it looks like that was his own doing, unfortunately. first time around, and not sure if that's going to be him into the pits. Does not have any damage, luckily enough for him. Paddy now goes up into P3. Front, so very much swapping positions, very well matched each other. Both pretty much okay, so about half his battery. Kaka does a very good job to manage his. Paddy comes in for the undercut on the cars ahead. Lap 10 is exactly where I would have pitted as well. I mean, you can extend it to about lap 12, lap 14. But the undercut is very powerful around here. Paddy swapping onto a set of hard tires. And we're going to the end. Another swap for the lead between Kaka and Yuri. Yuri now has that 3-second gap that he needs. You see Richie doing his DRS glitch, shifting down in non-DRS mode, trying to use as much battery as possible. He's done a good job of it because he's now got a full battery to play with. Monster struggles on about 30% battery at the moment. Srivatsa coming into the pits there. Oh, and unfortunately picked up a track limit warning on the entry to the pit there. That is, I'm not sure if that's a glitch or not, but it is a common occurrence that you see. So Srivatsa is trying to perhaps cover the undercut from Paddy, and let's see where Paddy comes out in comparison to Srivatsa. Srivatsa exiting the pits now, and I can imagine that Paddy will be ahead. Yes, it will be. The undercut working out very well for Paddy there. Srivatsa is getting close to cut through. He is close, they're side by side. He was going to back off the DRS. Not the best camera angles there, but cut through should have the DRS, I think. No one got the DRS, so they were neck and neck going into that DRS connection point there. On those medium tires will be very, very difficult for him to keep it all the way to the end, but you never know. Absolutely breezes past Srivatsa there. And Richie is now coming into the pits, manages to avoid those lines on the entry to the pits in order to not pick up a warning. 3 drivers into the pits, so Seps also into the pits, and Kevin Slice as well. Now let's see where Rishi comes out. Paddy with a big undercut there on Ola Ritchie. I think that was a couple of laps undercut. That's a massive gap. 9-second gap, I think it was. So well played to Paddy for playing that undercut. And also Srivatsa who played that undercut on Orishi. A bit deep there from Srivatsa. Had to avoid running into the back of cut though. But this is poor position. Both drivers have picked up 3 seconds of time penalties. Doing a good job of swapping, being efficient. That's going to be the name of the game for Cutthroat. And you see Yuri pulling the undercut on Kaka now. So Kaka's going to give it his all this lap. Very big, important in lap for him. Really picked up too much of the curve there. Now is Paddy going to undercut here? This will be very interesting to see. I think he might, you know. I think he might just do it. So Paddy's played an absolute blinder here. Yuri, of course, is a very, very quick driver, so it's a 1.5 second gap at the moment. Ooh, and Yuri picks up another time penalty. So that's 6 seconds from Yuri now, unfortunately. Two drivers get to pit. Paddy already in the DRS of Rios in front of him. I was going to say he's going to try and pass him down this DRS straight if possible, but look at the grip he's got in comparison to Rios. He's going to try and make a move around the outside. Yes, he is. That helicopter shot, lovely. Gets it done nice and efficiently. No time wasted behind Rios. Yuri is already closed up to the back, and I think that was a track limit violation as well. Rios gets out of the way and goes into the pit, so Kaka stayed out there. So he wants 2 lap pressure tires. Then the cars around him. He's aware that Yuri has picked up 6 seconds of time penalty, so he can afford to do so, but he's got the immediate threat of Paddy, who is definitely now cutting into his pit stop window. And Kaka, when he does make that pit stop, will come out behind Paddy. So he's got a little work on his hands to try and close back up as well, but with at least 4 lap pressure tires from Paddy, still plenty to play for. Ulo Ritchie now making a move on Cutthroat. Still on the battery, which is interesting. Pretty good braking there from Ulo Ritchie. He's got 1 lap pressure tires then Srivatsa ahead of him, 1.7 second gap. So let's see what he can do. And Kaka coming to the pits? Yes, he is. Avoid those lines on the entry. Yes, does it very nicely. A time validation for him as well by speeding into the pits. And Paddy's just coming up to the final quarter now, so this will be a massive undercut for Paddy to go up into P1. Yuri is right behind him, so we'll have the benefit of DRS. And Srivatsa has also put the undercut on Kaka, although they couldn't come out side by side near enough. Or Ritchie coming into play now behind Kaka. And Kaka has secured himself the DRS now, which is massive for him. To try and dispatch Srivatsa as soon as possible. So let's swap for the leads. Now, if Paddy can get pulled along by Yuri here, that would be huge for his race. Steps and Cutthroat going side by side. These two clearly do not like each other. Let's check and see what Cutthroat's going to want to do. He's going to send a dive bomb. He's not. Those old medium tires definitely starting to wear compared to the Stepsies 3-lap old hard tires. And all Paddy has to do, one job, sit in Yuri's DRS. Yuri definitely had a little bit of a moment going off track there, and Cutthroat had a little bit of a moment, and unfortunately, that is his race almost done for it, so I'm not sure if he's picked up any damage from that. Let's see how the front wing is looking. That front wing seems to be intact, although seems to be having some difficulty with controlling the car, and as Mr. Marios goes past, Kaka has gone past into P3. He's on the charge. Got 4.3 seconds to make up on Paddy in front of him with 5-lap pressure tires. Paddy and Yuri quite low on the ERS now. Paddy needs to stay calm and composed. He has a faster driver in front of him. And on worn tires as well, older tires compared to Yuri. Just needs to deploy his ERS in the right corners. Ooh, the gap is already more than a second. Is incredibly low on the ERS, and Kaka takes the fastest lap of the session now, 24.6. So Cutthroat once again having a little bit of an issue. Coming to the pits and retire? No, he's going to continue. As Oliver Ritchie now moves up into P4. Shiraza very close behind, will have the benefit of DRS of course. Yuri has gapped Paddy. All he needs to do is stay within 6 seconds, and the race win could be his, although Kaka is absolutely on the charge. That's at 2.2 Paddy with just over 11 laps to go in the final race of Divine Racing this season for F1 2024. Cutthroat has DNF in the pits. No, he has not. He's caused a safety car. So I'm not sure how he's binned it just before the final corner. And that would have definitely not helped out Yuri. This will allow everyone to change tires, of course, if they choose to do so. I'd imagine the medium tire is best from here to the end. So as we see Yuri coming to the pits, he's going to be the first driver to choose what he wants to do. This definitely would have hampered Kaka's races. He definitely was on the charge. Is choosing to pit. Paddy as well. Kaka is continuing on 4-lap old car tires, so he wants that track position, which is not a terrible idea. Oops, controller disconnected, my bad. Out, Yuri will come out in P3. Unfortunately, he's not able to get his time penalties taken away as those are for track limits violations. With the medium tire, or the steps also opted to stay out as well. He was in a bit of a start position as well. Having had a little bit of a difficult start to the race. Swapping going on with the safety car. Of course, the safety car has allowed everyone to bunch back up. Drivers like Alavriades, who was pretty much out of the race, having had 2 spins essentially, and allowed him to kind of close back up. Close back up to the back of the pack. If you really like this track, but you're so bad at it, it is a difficult track. I used to hate this track as well. This was the first track that I ever did a league race on, and DNF'd after lap 1 or lap 2, so it's become one of my favorites now. It is a very enjoyable track to drive, I have to say. It's all about putting in the hours, putting in the laps, just like any other track. I, for example, absolutely hate Singapore. I can't get that track right no matter what. But also setup is a big factor as well. You want to find a setup that allows you to ride the curves around here and so forth. But Kaka will be our safety car leader on this restart, and then imagine that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. There we go, safety car in this lap. So Kaka's going to try and warm up its hard tires, which will be a little bit of a challenge, that is for sure. At least he's got the steps behind him to kind of maybe perhaps act as a blockade. Those medium tires will be very quick on this restart. And the safety car is peeling into the pits any second now, so Kaka will have free reign to decide when he wants to go. We'll stay on board with him. Safety car is in the pits. He's decided to go. Steps seem to be pretty on it there. So half a second gap, 6/10 gap to the lead, and Yuri's going to try and challenge into turn 1. Very late braking indeed, gets the move done very nicely. Lovely move from Yuri there. He's going to be absolutely all over, trying to push Kaka as much as possible. Oh, look at the grip he's got in comparison to Kaka. Not going to push it now. He's going to have DRS on the next lap. Or is he? He's closing very rapidly indeed. Yep, he looks like he's going for it. Deep braking. We're going to see a switchback attempt from Kaka. Blocked off very nicely by Yuri indeed. Charging his battery through this section now. Just about 35% battery, just heading up to 40. Fastest lap of the race for Yuri. The steps seems to be dropping off just a little bit from the front too. Paddy's going to get past him as quickly as possible, which I'd imagine will be done on the CRS straight. Really needs to do it before that, in all honesty. Much more grip compared to the steps. And this should be a fairly easy move. Yes, it is. Let's see, should go for it as well. Oh, yes, we did. A little bit of a lag spike there. The steps really making a mistake, I think, up here for him, opting not to change tires. Now we see Shrivatsa challenging the steps. He's going to want to do everything he can to try and get past as quickly as possible as well. Gap between Paddy and Kaka, 1.2 seconds. Can we see Paddy close that gap, get back within the DRS that he so desperately needs on the cars ahead? Yuri with another time penalty. Well, I believe that might have been a double warning there. He seems to go a little bit wide on the exit as well, so that's 9 seconds for Yuri, and at the moment he'll be dropping right to the back of the grid if everyone is able to manage these gaps. It should be a big shame for Yuri as he's led a big portion of this race. Well, Richie now closing up to Paddy. Definitely going to want to work together if they can here, swapping down with both DRS straights. Got to keep it nice and tidy as well whilst they do so. Yeah, it's at 1.5. We're going to see Paddy go for it. Although Richie is in hot lap mode, but Paddy is on the battery. Try and get past again. They're going to go side by side. Some more battling going on behind. So unfortunately, the steps, his tires just seem to be absolutely failing him at the moment. Gap between Paddy and Kaka is now 2 seconds. It seems like they just don't quite have the pace to get that gap back down. So Kaka, the win seems to be all his at the moment. Oh no. Lots of issues going on. Kept the Slice seems to lose something from his car, I believe. Rios taking advantage of that, up a couple of positions. Paddy there, but although she's doing a pretty good job, was able to gain a few tenths through that sequence of corners, so perhaps Kaka following so closely behind Yuri is not a good thing for him. Rios will be second now, unfortunately for him. Not sure quite what happened there, he missed that unfortunately, but he lost out of position. Kevin Slice has retired in the pits, so he's had enough. Down to the last few laps of this race here, lap 25 and 29. Oh, big moment for Shrivatsa. Oh, unfortunately, he's spun it there. Seems to take a little bit too much curb, but tough one for Shigatsu to take there. Lovely braking, although Richie gained a couple of tenths just in that braking zone alone. Oh no, although Richie is a little bit too keen on the entry to that corner there, now picked up a time penalty for his woes, so 3 seconds at the moment, he's just losing out one position. Paddy can theoretically just stay behind, but if he wants more, he needs to recharge and push on a little bit, try and overtake Olo Richie, and close that gap between himself and Kaka for P2, but Kaka at the moment looking very, very comfortable, just staying in the DRS of Yuri, doesn't need to push anymore. But another moment for Yuri there, as we just saw on the exit of turn 1. Into the pits for a wing change, unfortunately. Paddy goes by on Olo Richie. Here the no traction control for Olo Richie just kicking in there. Down to the last 3 laps of this race here. Lavriadis on those medium tires compared to the Seps's 15 lap old cards. Should be a fairly easy pass for him. And is there another change around here? Sure. But there is a change for lead on track. There. Yuri doesn't seem to be happy at all with the stability of his car. Seems to be very, very oversteery. Back end keeps stepping out. It's allowing Kaka to follow very, very closely indeed. Another wide moment for Yuri there, so that would have been another track limits violation. Kaka just seems incredibly dialed in, everything working very, very well for him. Get past Paddy now. Very good exit for Paddy there. On the battery and to get past. Very simple pass as well with the use of DRS, a little bit of ERS as well. Steps. Get past Alabriados, since you're going to keep swapping positions most likely. That's now going to pass Yeah, so plenty of beach changes. I think every single driver swapped positions through that one straight there, which was interesting. Final lap of the race as we're on board with Yuri. Keeps cleaning that time around through turn 1. Yuri's gonna imagine want to at least get the on-track battle between himself and Kaka. Now moves into P3 on track as well. Yuri is going to try and make the move. Ooh, nearly touching there. Yuri out of battery. It was very, very wide indeed, and Yuri able to secure that position on track through that corner. Paddy and Olarichi fighting as well. Too many on-track battles going on. As we're rounding the final sequence of corners, you see a dummy move from Yuri. Too far back. But Kaka has won your final race of the season here in Abu Dhabi. Big congratulations to him. Let's see how many positions Yuri drops down. At least 2. And I think it will just be 2 positions. So your podium finishes off as Kaka P1, Paddy P2, and Olarichi finishing the race in P3. Yuri P4, the steps P5 was able to make a little bit of recovery after sticking it out on those hard tires. Alabriadis in P6. Rios and Srivatsa coming up to the line. See them move? Nope. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. But Rios was just able to keep that position there. Big congratulations to everyone for this season here in Divine Eye Racing. Wasn't around as much as I would have liked to be, but that's how life works sometimes. But there you have it. Big congratulations to the Steps for winning your Drivers' Championship. I believe Paddy has secured himself a P2 as well, followed by Yuri finishing in P3. McLaren, congratulations to them for the constructor standings, I believe. Yep, they have too much of a gap for the Ferraris. But nonetheless, it's been a pleasure to return to the commentary booth once again here in Divine Eye Racing. Hope everyone enjoyed the final race of the season. Yuri picking up the fastest lap on the last race of the season. It's been your boy, Servilliers. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you around next season. Have a good evening. Catch you all next season. Bye-bye.